Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Fernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are welcome in the essence. This broadcast, Brownstone, the light is contagious. But you need go on and receive it for yourself. Just open it, exuberant, evolution, excited. We standing on the foundation of expression. You might have seen, you might have been, or you could have gravitated. Our foundation, we want to create a space for all to collaborate and be liberated from eventually all over the globe. And we are extending a hand to those who are an extension from maybe platforms, dig into another stratosphere. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Fernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. And that is MSG, the message in the message. I can OD on my execution of excellency. And this as a man right now, and things aren't created, but see true.
Welcome everybody to the Brownstone. Brandon, you will get put out, honey. Welcome to the day shift. I'm Paulette. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be talking about a couple of things. If you had an opportunity, we kind of hung out yesterday evening, which is very, very rare for me. But I definitely wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about everything that is happening in the news. So we just got through talking about news and information, right? We just got through talking about, let me go ahead and pull it up because I have my list. I got a list of the stuff. Hey, Pam, how are you? Y'all wild out here in these streets. The nerve. Hey, China, welcome, welcome. Y'all ready for this? JP Morgan is warning incoming junior bankers not to accept future dated job offers outside the company. To you as well, Pam. So I like they daggone nerve. Wait a minute. A couple things we need to talk about today before we get into this rescission bill. So JP Morgan has warned incoming junior bankers not to accept future dated job offers outside the company within 18 months of starting the bank's analyst program. Those who do will be fired. A letter sent to new recruits stated. The letter implicitly targets private equity firms whose recruiting tactics have drawn the ire of JP Morgan's chief executive. So in August, JP Morgan told analysts it was reviewing its policy and that accepting a position at a private equity firm would result in the bank reconsidering their employment. Well, if they already got the training, you move around. People do that stuff all the time. What's with this loyalty stuff? I'm against loyalty with companies now. I really am. Why would I be loyal to a company that if at any minute they felt like it, they could cut me loose and impact my livelihood? Not feeling that. U.S. tourism is falling. Like Chicken Little said, it's falling, the sky. The U.S. tourism industry stands to lose $12.5 billion this year alone as part of the fallout from tariffs, travel bans, because y'all know we got a new travel ban. New travel ban is good. Yeah, that's a lot of money, y'all. So the U.S. is the only economy of 184 surveyed that projects a tourism decline. What? Carla, are you in New Orleans? Y'all listening to this? Carla says it's already dying in New Orleans. So air travel has already declined on Air France, British Airways, and Lufthansa. Oh, you're a server in the French Quarter. You feeling it, huh? Because here's what they're saying. That was my next thing. My next topic of conversation is, what is this going to do for the local economy? Because a lot of these areas, that's how they're making their money. Very specifically. Thank you for that, Pam. I appreciate you. Yeah, so $6 billion is lost in spending, lost spending. And here's something else. It's going to potentially lose over 40,000 jobs. 40,000 jobs. So we're talking about restaurant workers. We're like you, right, Carla? Hotels and local event centers and activity centers and all of the things. Because here's what's happening. Don't nobody want to come to a country where they're not welcome. Nobody want to come here in the middle of this foolery. Think about that. Nobody wants to come right now. And he's made it very clear that there are another group of people that he's put on a travel ban. This cat is off the chain. So I'm just not so sure that me personally, a couple things that I know right now I'm not going to be doing. If it is out of the country, I don't know how I feel about that right now. Okay. Now I am going to be doing some flying over the next couple of days. However, it is in the continental US of A, because I don't trust him. And I've already made it clear to my family, no. If it is not in the US, then why don't they want to leave on their own? Well, you tell me. A travel ban is totally different. We're not talking about immigrants right now. Okay. So in effect, who is he talking about? Restrictions on visitors from Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. That's the travel ban. Everything this administration does is never, ever well thought. No, it's not. World Cup. Yeah. So I saw that the other day. Y'all, they talking about canceling the World Cup. Do you know the amount of money people have already put into being a part of the World Cup? People have made plans. People have already decided where they're going to stay and all of that. I wouldn't want to come to a country like this. Not right now. Exactly. So the other thing is if you leave the country, you may not be able to get back in. I've had two friends who have left the country and came back, and they pulled them to the side. Born and raised, they pulled them to the side, and they were basically interrogated before they were allowed to go back into the country and go home. And the Olympics, because it's going to be in LA. What does that look like for us? So what are we talking about? Are we saying that we're okay? Because now this is absolutely going to impact our economy in so many different ways. So many different ways. Because we're not just talking about cruises. Think about the cruise industry. There are people that literally fly into the US to go on our cruises with Norwegian and with Carnival and all of the others like Princess and so forth. They fly into the country to come and hang out in the USA. And now, why would I want to come here? We're going to have to change everything, babe. Yes, New Orleans also has a cruise port. Y'all, I used to work for Carnival. Sure did. And when I tell you it stayed busy in my department, it stayed busy. Oh my God, Raquel, you got to be kidding me. So Raquel says that airlines are planning to charge more for single passengers. This cannot be happening right now. I don't have it in me because my flights that I just booked were crazy, crazy cheap. You would think that they would be doing the other, because if you're going to be losing that many passengers or travelers because of these new restrictions from these other countries, listen. Now let's talk about there's another list. Afghanistan is a part of this list. Myanmar, Chad, the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. Agricultural industry is in California is feeling it because workers are afraid to show up for work. See, that's something else. So, Mark, the agricultural industry, we want to get all of this out in the open for everybody that's, oh, I voted for this and this is a wonderful thing and blah 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 blah. But see, those of us who have any sense knew that this was going to happen. So if you're removing all of these people and you're getting them out of the way, you're moving all of these people and you're getting them out of the way. The sad part is these are the very people that are in the fields picking the food that we consume, that are shipped to other countries, right? So what we're talking about right now is losing an ability to have fresh fruits and vegetables in some regard. So we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. We just didn't know that it's already starting to be felt. But now they've told them to beef up and make sure that you're arresting 3,000 people a day. I got my calculator pulled up for this one. You ready? So if you are arresting 3,000 people a day, within 30 days, what is that, y'all? I already know. I'm just being silly. That's 90,000 people a month. 90,000 people a month that you're going to pick up off the street. And you all have witnessed what they're currently doing, right? They're literally going to companies and they're picking people up off of their jobs. They're going to the courts and they're actually picking up people during their immigration court hearings. No due process, none of that. We're watching them now officially start taking children. Did you know that there's a fourth grader that has been locked up for about, 6 or 7 days now? He's a fourth grader. He's 10 years old, basically. Yep, 10 years old. They get financial incentives if they exceed their deportation quota, y'all. Did y'all know that? Thank you for that, Mark. So let's talk about that briefly, because I see, Tara, you responded to Jade. Welcome to the neighborhood. If you are new here, I'm Paulette, owner and founder of Brownstone Worldwide. I'm Paulette on the mic on most everything, including Substack. And we talk about things like this. And let's put some things in perspective. So someone just said they should be leaving if they're not supposed to be here. But who are we to say who is to stay and who is to go? Because wasn't it indicated during this campaign for this election that you would only be going after people who were violent criminals and who had warrants? Isn't that what you said? Because if that's what you said, you lied. There are people that are here who are seeking asylum. Of course they are, Mark. Curtis, hold on. We're going to talk about that too in just a minute. Because I need to go back. For those of you all, again, who are new here, we talk about the things that you guys need to know so you can make better decisions for yourselves. And I try my best always to give you nothing but facts and information and references so you can go and find out for yourself if you are willing to do the homework. But to answer this question, who are we to say who is to stay and who is to go? If somebody, can I go here? I'm going to just try to break it down. If somebody is constantly tearing your tail up every single day, I'm trying to use words so that I'm not blocked, okay? They are knocking you upside the head. They're causing you to be emotionally damaged and so forth. In every sense of the word, you are being emotionally abused, spiritually abused, financially abused, and you are being physically assaulted, you yourself and your children and your family and so forth. Not only that, but every dime you make, they're taking it and they're ripping it from your hands and they get to spend it. Not only that, but if you so much as try to fight and stand up for yourself, they will unalive you and your family. And your only viable option is to flee, is to run. Then what? Then what? I need that to make sense. So you come to this country seeking asylum and you are granted that. You grab an attorney. You have a friend that lives here that went through the process. You did everything right. You are, as it stands, given asylum. You have a visa. You're a student. You did all the right things. You filled out all the right paperwork. You handled your business. You are going to court. And guess what else? You getting up going to somebody's job every day that you can't even benefit from because you are not a citizen. You're doing the work that most Americans right now today won't do. You are working in the hotels. You are working in the farms and on the farms. You are building the homes. You are doing everything that you're supposed to do. You are following the letter of the law that they told you you were supposed to follow. Yet when you show up for your court hearing, for your asylum status, you followed every letter of the law. Correct, Mark. They pay into Social Security without the benefit of receiving Social Security. Here's something else a lot of people don't know. Are we listening to this part? You're paying into Social Security as an immigrant, as an asylum seeker, as someone with a green card or a visa. And guess what? You don't get the benefit of it, but that money is literally a portion of the funds that are being utilized to hold up the current Social Security system. Because the sources and the funds that were there were somehow removed. So now that they've taken all these folks out, guess what happens to our Social Security? Yeah. But don't nobody want to talk about that. You see how we keep biting our hands so that we can't work, so that we can't get anything? I agree with you there, Jade. But not everyone is here under the auspices of being illegal. These people are coming here with the idea to become citizens. And it is hard. It is difficult. We even went so far as to literally do the read up here on the day shift so everyone here will know how difficult it is to become an American citizen. That's the other part that they're not telling you. You can't just go down to the courthouse and say, I want to be an American citizen. All right, raise your right hand. It doesn't work that way. That's the stuff they're not telling you. And I don't mind telling people so we can get off of our high horses thinking that people are just here, taking. Baby, listen, for every person that I know that has come here to this country, they work so hard. They living on top of each other in a one-bedroom apartment, some of them, doing what they got to do to have a better life for themselves. Because they can't get it in their country. I've seen it. So when I see remarks about, well, they ought to leave and go back to their country, you go back to a war-torn country where if you step off that plane or you go back across the border, you very well might lose your life. Social Security is paid into because you work. Not by those who abide by the system, Jade. If you work and you got a W-2, you're going to pay into it. If you're a 1099, they're going to get you on the back end. If you're a business, they got you. Ask me how I know. And if they're under the table, that's something totally different. Jerry, I hope I said your name right. If they're under the table, I agree with you. They're not. They're not trying to rob us blind. I know somebody who is, if that's who you're talking about, Dee Dee. But do you see what I'm saying? They are hardworking. Not everybody is trying to get over. Thank you. And I apologize for that. Hey, Carol Sue. How are you? Welcome to the neighborhood. Come on in and sit down. Not everybody is out here doing dastardly stuff. Because if that were the case, we could talk about a whole bunch of Americans we know right now that are committing atrocities right now, sitting in the Oval Office. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about it. You playing in your yard today? I actually went out in my yard this morning and I looked at my plants and one of them is turning brown on the ends. And I was like, it needs a new pot. So I went to go get a new pot and I'm not paying more than, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not paying $30 for a pot for a plant. They're loving, kind, and gracious people. Everyone that I ever met was. And they're just trying to make a decent life for themselves. But you know what? That narrative is just like the narrative that Ronald Reagan had back in the day about the welfare queen. Remember that? And that lie has perpetuated itself well into today, where everybody believes that everybody's on welfare is a Black woman. It was wonderful PR. It worked wonders because it worked. And it had people blaming the very people that we shouldn't be pointing fingers at. Because if we want to really point some fingers at anybody who's receiving any kind of government support, let's talk about the major corporations and the farms that are getting subsidies. But we shouldn't beat each other up for that, because what we need to do is understand exactly how this works and how the system works. Because without that information, unfortunately, what has happened is a lot of us are fighting each other. And we're losing. We're losing. And that's how they won. They won on several different things. I say it again. I say it again. I say it again. They won on racism. They won on separatism. They won on sexism. And they won against the rich, against the poor. They tried their best to make it seem like if you were for them, then you were a part of what they're doing. But I bet you don't have $500,000 to give them to be a part of their in club that many of you all don't know about. It divided us. He even said it. He said, I love the uneducated. He said it out his own mouth, but we won't pay attention to that. We're still arguing against each other. And I absolutely don't understand that, because at the end of the day, that bill that they're talking about that made it to the Senate is sitting on somebody's desk right now. And it's getting ready to impact people, whether you red or whether you blue. It's going to impact somebody you know. That's number one. Number two, who is this talking to me? Oh, okay. So whether you're red or whether you're blue, because we're working on our emotions. It's not so much about not even being intelligent enough. It's really because we're working on our emotions. We didn't do the research. That's how a lot of people end up voting the way that they did. That's all. That's all. And it's okay. I'm here. I literally am like, you know what? We on this side together, y'all. Because I don't have $500,000 to join their club. And that may be so, right? So not everyone here is here to be kind and gracious. But I have a pair of rose-colored glasses that says everybody is human. And I will treat you as such until you show me otherwise. Because what they would have you to believe is that you are losing because those people are here, and that's not so. That's not so. Sorry. I think what we need to do is focus on why is it that everybody on this side, we fighting like this? We're arguing over things that don't even matter. They want more work requirements for SNAP. They giving people right now $10 a month. My daughter was in college. She was going to school for what was it? This was maybe, and y'all, this wasn't yesterday. She was getting $10 a month while she was in college. $10. She couldn't afford her apartment. I couldn't afford to help her because I was in graduate school at the same time. And she was getting $10 a month. She did the work requirements. She was working. She was doing all the things she was supposed to do. See what I mean? She wasn't trying to get over. She was trying to graduate. That's it. Not everybody is trying to get over. And what they try to do is they try to lump all of the people who they want us to be angry at so they can continue to do all the sneaky shit behind the scenes. Yeah, they want us to stay mad at each other for the foolery. They want us to be entertained like a lot of people were entertained yesterday. Even though I was tickled at what I saw, guess what? That big, beautiful bill is still on in the Senate. Guess what else? Guess what else that they're doing? They're talking about the rescission bill or this package that they're getting ready to try to codify. But we're missing the point. It's all smoke and mirrors, exactly, Pam. They want us to talk about the things that literally don't matter. Exactly. Love your neighbors. That means all the different agencies in Doge are going bye-bye for good. Exactly. Exactly. Divide and conquer has always been in play. And that's what they're doing right now. Now, let's be honest. Let's be clear, because I'm seeing your post. And what I'm trying not to do is make it all about the post, right? Because we want to stay on task. But what we also want to do is acknowledge that we know that everybody is not for the good. We recognize that. But you don't punish everybody because you got a few bad apples. You don't do that. You remove the bad apples. That's what you do. You don't punish everyone. Everyone is not out to get over. Everyone is not out to do the worst things possible in this country. That's not fair. And you know what? You are absolutely correct on that part. Everybody should be able to do what? Work for a livable wage. Can we talk about that? Why don't we go down the rabbit hole just for a little while before we talk about the rescission package? Yes, this is about, it's about all of those things, Kayshawn. It is about racism and sexism. It is about control. And you know, we're going to go over to Project 2025 and we're going to see where we are. It is about human rights because we are watching the dismantling of human rights all across the globe right now. And the unfortunate thing is the US of A, with the kind of power that we have had, I know for a fact that we are supporting what is happening overseas. I didn't believe it until I was told. And not so much that I didn't believe it, I didn't know for sure until I was told. Yeah. So, couple things. But here's the thing, and I hear what you're saying. But you know what though? If let's talk about the livable wage, shall we? Because I think you bring up an excellent point. So Jade is saying, guys, for those of you all who are watching on the other platforms, and I see you. Hey, Diane, good to see you. Hey, Martin, good to see you. A couple things. One, the working American being replaced by cheap labor. Whose fault is that? Let's dig deep, because I want us to really take that anger, and not so much that anger, but take that anger and learn exactly who is to blame for that. Because it's not the people. Even though we steal the people, it's not us. It's the big corporations who have taken their opportunity to grease some palms through some PACs and some super PACs. That's a whole different ball of wax. You want to talk about getting rid of some stuff? Go before the Supreme Court and get rid of those. Because it is okay to grease palms now and put money in people's hands so that they will vote in things that will benefit these major corporations. The 1%. Don't nobody want to talk about the 1%, because if we really want to get down to brass tacks, let's talk about why there is cheap labor, quote unquote. Because cheap labor, the folks that's doing it, they got bills too. They got a mortgage. They got kids in school. They have to eat. They have a light bill. They got bills, bills, and more bills. Just like me. Just like you. But you know what they said? We don't want to pay them, Mr. and Mrs. Senator and Congressperson. We're going to give you millions of dollars into your campaign to make sure that when you get in office, that you do what we want you to do. So we don't have to pay them. How many people you know work at Walmart? How many people that you know that work at a big box retailer right now that can't get 40 hours? Because if I give you 40 hours, you know what else I got to give you? Benefits. If I just keep you at 39 and a half, go ahead and clock out for me. Well, why? XYZ, because the minute that happens, by law, you got to give me benefits. Why is it that minimum wage is still the rate that it currently is? Isn't it like $7 and some change? You can't even survive on $15 an hour. So if we really want to talk about the, cheap labor, let's look at the major corporations that refuse to pay a livable wage. We're talking about the corporations. We are literally continuing to blame one another. And I need that to make sense. Bingo, Gen X. You think picking up all of those people doing what? This was well before then, Jade. I'm sorry, hon. Because you got to think, what does the 13th Amendment say? 13th Amendment was to free the slaves. Unless, of course, you were imprisoned. I'm just breaking it down for you. Make it real, real simple. So if we could keep you imprisoned, guess what else? Then you can use me for cheap labor. We won't talk about that. That's why we have cheap labor. You want it even cheaper? Ask Levi's who makes their pants at $1 and something an hour. The prison systems. And not just any prison systems, the corporate prison systems. Nobody wants to talk about that. We keep blaming the American person. And these multi-billion-dollar corporations have gotten so much money and so much power, they can control the narrative. And we believe it. That's the problem. We keep believing the crap. And I'm trying not to cuss. We keep believing the crap. The problem is not us. It's them. And so while we continue to argue over you didn't know? Yeah, the 13th Amendment to the Constitution indicates, first of all, let's do a little bit of Black history, shall we? After the Emancipation Proclamation, let's talk about the Emancipation Proclamation so you are clear. I'm trying to give you a quick history lesson. Emancipation Proclamation that was read by President Abraham Lincoln was literally only for those states who were in rebellion to the United States of America at the time. Okay? They wanted to economically cripple those states and those parishes within those states, like Louisiana, like Arkansas, like Texas. Okay? How could they do that? Removing slavery. Here's what I need you to know. The Emancipation Proclamation was just that. It was a proclamation. It was the 13th Amendment that legally freed the slaves, and it became a part of the Constitution. The 14th Amendment made my ancestors American citizens. There is a piece of the Constitution that says, hold on, I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to read it to you. Because you want, some of y'all don't believe fat, meat, greasy, like my grandmother used to say. Where's my book? Here we go. Y'all see this? Get you one. It was $5. Get you one. Okay, and Native Americans, correct. All right. If I go through this, I'm gonna just look it up, right? But I do have it, and I need to highlight it in the book. We the people. Hey, Deborah, how are you? Y'all come on in here. Okay. 6, 10, 12. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to jurisdiction. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. That's in the Constitution. That's the 13th Amendment. It was proposed in 1865 and it was ratified in 1865. The following year, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject, it didn't say some people, it said all. And I hate we got to do this. Do you see what I mean? But it's right there in black and white in the 13th Amendment. So if you want to know why, Jay, to your point, why prisoners, convicted people who are in prison right now are literally working for free or less, sometimes for $2 an hour, it's because of the 13th Amendment. That's why your prisons are full. Right here. They took advantage of this. Where did I get this? Five Below. I sure did. I carry it with me. Don't play. I said, oh, and it's $5? It is a must purchase. Five Below. Yep. Yep. It is the Constitution of the United States of America and other founding documents. If you want to get one, and I do not work for Five Below. I just felt that it was a good purchase. It was the best $5 that I had spent. And I thought, why not? But as you can see, the 13th Amendment literally says you free, but we can lock you up and the 13th Amendment goes away for you. So slavery still does exist in the United States based upon the 13th Amendment. How do you become a slave to the United States again? And I ain't say by clocking in, get locked up. Get locked up. And what they were trying to do back then is you have to remember after slavery, then and after the Civil War, there was Reconstruction. And then after Reconstruction came Jim Crow. And after Jim Crow came what? The Civil Rights Movement. And all during that time, they literally had police officers. Listen closely, folks. A lot of y'all don't know this. The police force was created to pick up Black folks who were quote unquote vagrant or loitering. That's why you have a police force. That ain't nothing I made up. I had to go to school to learn that myself. And when I learned it when I was in college, I think I was a freshman or sophomore, my mouth went like this. I thought that was Mr. Officer Friendly. Yeah, and he knocking all y'all folks up in the neighborhood. I grew up in the city, all upside your head, locking your folks up. Everybody you knew, Junebug and them and everybody in prison. That's why. Big Mama, I didn't even do nothing. He was right. Don't be nervous. Do what most of us are doing, and we are learning and educating ourselves in ways that are important. So what I will say that this is what's happening right now is a good thing, because more often than not, many of us are getting the education that we didn't really pay attention to in school during that 5th grade civics class, during that 6th grade civics class. A lot of us, we learned the Constitution. We could read it, we could sing it, but tell us to understand it. So now, when we're talking about what's currently happening right now, the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and the 4th and 5th are vitally important. Due process is a part of the 5th Amendment. Yes, if you have not seen the 13th on Netflix, go see it. You need to listen, get the free. If you don't have it, go see it. Log in. Let that be your Netflix and chill so that you can gain clarity on the games that your government is playing on you, because they are utilizing the 13th Amendment and the 14th Amendment. And what they're trying to do is also ratify the 14th Amendment. I hope that was helpful. It is absolutely appalling. I was disgusted, and it angered me because I have so many male family members who got locked up for nothing. Now they got a record, and guess what else they can't do when they get out? Vote. So an entire population of Black folks can't vote if it's a felon. But who we keep blaming? We keep blaming each other. We keep blaming each other. And one of the things that they wanted to do with the Black Panther Party, was get rid of it, because we were educating each other just like this. You have the right to know. I don't care if you are on the red or the blue side. If you choose not to choose a side, that's on you. But you still deserve a right to know what is right. Because they got us fighting each other and arguing against each other for what? Yes, that free lunch program was started by the Black Panther Party. You want to know why you mad at the welfare mom? Because they don't want you to be mad at the farmers that's getting free money from the same system. Shall I tell them, for those of us who learned this? Can I go ahead and tell them about the WIC program? Sit down, Mark. I don't know if you got your coffee or your water. Go ahead, y'all over here. Diane and Deborah, go ahead and sit down. Mark, over here, go ahead and sit down. You ready? Black farmers, let's talk about it. Lord have mercy. This is so good. You ready? We're mad at families that can't get SNAP. We're mad at mommies that can get WIC. You ready? We mad at the wrong somebody. WIC was created for the farmer. It was not created for the mommies. They had surplus milk, cheese, eggs, grain that they couldn't get rid of. What are the main proponents and packages? Yes, Mark, yes. What are the main products that you get with WIC? Dairy, your eggs, cheese, milk, and grains through your cereals. You ever notice that you can only get certain kinds of cereal? Whole grain cereal, peanut butter. It was designed, listen, it was designed so that we could go shopping with those vouchers. Because I did, as a mommy, a single mom, I would go take that voucher, turn it in. Grocery store would go ahead at the end of their shift or whatever. They would do their countdown and they would turn those WIC vouchers in. And once they turned those WIC vouchers in, it would go into the government and it would be cashed out and sent to the farmers as a subsidy. I bet y'all didn't know that. Guess what? Same thing with food stamps. It's the same thing. But they got us mad at each other. They got us mad at each other. Hey, Angie T. Yes, really, yes. A Black farmer told it. I actually played it on one of our lives here. And when it was told, it changed my entire perspective on the welfare system. The welfare, they have us so twisted on feeding our families. And because we decide to go get our nails done and even get the press-ons, we should be ashamed of ourselves for trying to look nice in the middle of our trauma, living in a country that is not paying us a livable wage. But at the same token, I got $50 worth of food stamps that I was given today, and I got to try to figure out how to make it work. And somebody behind me is mad because I swiped a EBT card. And all the time, it's to keep the farmers afloat. Because without the money coming in, they fall. So they're getting fat checks, right? 147,000, 900,000. Some of them getting $1 million in subsidies, y'all, to go and buy equipment and so forth and and then turn around and they produce the food that ends up on our shelves and being shipped overseas. And we can't afford it, so we go and apply for food stamps, and then the food stamps come, or we get WIC, and that it becomes a vicious cycle. Thank you, Lodi. You see that? But we mad at each other. And the voucher was never designed. The food stamps were never designed for the American people. It was to save the farmers who were losing money because the people couldn't afford to buy it. So who really getting food? Who's really getting welfare? Your major corporations, your big box retailers. Okay, Jade, no problem. Come back and see us anytime. Welcome to the neighborhood. Yep, subsidies. They got us mad at each other for no reason. No reason. But that's how they won, though. That's how they won. And I'm not here. That's how they won. But see, those are the people that keep getting voted in. Remember, all seats in the Senate and the House are up for re-election. Every single one. Y'all better go in there and do what you need to do during the midterms. Flip this sucker around, because what's not going to happen now is we are not going to see a change. We're not going to see a change. Not right now. I don't care how much they infighting and they mad at each other. They're going to be kissing cousins in just a minute. It's time to get to work. Exactly. Yes, we do, Goober Fruit. You are right, Kayshawn. That's why we try our best here in the Brownstone to only talk about the things so that we can get more knowledge and walk away knowledgeable. We can get in our feelings later. We can definitely do that. Because while we're talking about the 13th and we picking people up off the street because we're not doing what we're supposed to do according to the Constitution, we're not providing due process for these people. Well, guess what? Who broke the law? Who broke the law? It was unconstitutional, and they know it. SCOTUS told them it's unconstitutional. So you know what they're doing? They're still doing it anyway. Yeah, it's going to be a generation to clean up. They're still doing it anyway. So what do we do in situations like this? What do? We stop arguing at each other. We are not the problem. They want us to believe that. They absolutely are, Lawless. And there will be some who consider themselves to be a part of MAGA or whatever, and I'm on this part. I'm not on any side. I'm for right. Because I won't lie to you, there are some things I agree with. Very little. Do you see that? You can't even get a thread through that if you were trying to put a thread through a needle. But we keep getting back to who won, we won, so forth. And they over here making deals overseas. His son, they never, you know, when you become president, you're supposed to not do business. You're supposed to relinquish all of that and walk away. He never did it. So his two sons are overseas cutting up and picking up real estate along the way for daddy. They didn't give him that. They didn't offer him and say, yes, you must have, yes. Oh, I won't take no for an answer with this plane in Qatar. He asked for it. Yes, Lodi, that's right. You work at the polls now and until midterms. You're talking about voting and the things that move us forward. What's going to move the country forward? I, again, do not care if you left or right. You have the right to believe what you want to, but you also have the right to respect each other in that and have the right to have freedom, a way to pay your bills, living well, liberty. That's what you are supposed to have living in this country. That's what they said we were supposed to have. That's what we should be talking about. They gave us a bone. They said, oh, we're going to release the Chrisleys. I don't care nothing about that. Matter of fact, they didn't think he was going to come out and say that there are disparities. He said he's going to be talking about it. Well, let's see, sir. Let's see. All the resources, they're in absolute overdrive. I talk about this on my Substack. If I were you, you don't have to, but you could go over to Substack and you can subscribe to my Substack at Paulette on the Mic, and I talk about this. Of course, Jokington, I hope I said that right. It is. It absolutely is. We're watching it, and we're watching it in totally unexpected. Listen, Pam, when I saw him say that, he was like, we know why they weren't given. It's because they were Black. They weren't given the same things that he was given in prison. And he witnessed it firsthand. Sometimes all things that look bad may not be. Sometimes you got to have an extra pair of eyes on stuff so you can see for yourself what's going on, even when you can't. You got to have an extra pair of eyeballs. And that's really what happened in this situation. So hopefully he'll use, because y'all already know, they've negotiated a new reality show. He's not going to miss a beat. He says they're innocent, that they didn't do it. Okay, whatever. That's fine. Hi. So anyway, there's that. I said we were going to talk about the rescission package. So let's talk about it. Right. What you heard what you said yesterday about how he changed the vote. Yep, I saw it. But we knew it. Let's talk about that really quick. Exactly. Right. I really don't. But let's talk about what you just said, Kayshawn. I was watching a couple things. I was watching a video. I've seen it 2 or 3 times and a couple of other things, right? I'm not gonna hold my breath either, Carol Sue, but we'll see. So a gentleman was breaking down what happened in the state of Wisconsin. There was a Democratic senator by the first name of Tanya, who won her seat with 341,000 votes. Listen closely. DJT won the executive seat at the exact same number. I'm going to sip this real quick. And I'm going to let that sit in your brain. Did you catch that? Let me say it again, Goober Fruit. Listen close. Tanya, don't know her last name, who is a Democratic senator. I forgot her last name, but you can look her up. Won her Senate seat at 341,000 votes, somewhere in that number, right? But it was over 300,000 votes, right? The executive seat won by DJT in the same state won by the exact same number of votes. Y'all need me to repeat it again? Did y'all catch that? I think you're thinking on it. just a little bit. And it's okay. It's not mathing. But it does tell us something huge, doesn't it? If the seats, exactly. Now you know what happened. So here's the thing. Something smells like rotten eggs to me. So if we are sitting here and all of the seats up until the presidential seat is blue with the same votes, if I got 5 votes and I won my seat, 9 times out of 10, whatever those seats are, Congress and Senate, that's which way the presidential seat is going to go. How did that happen? How did he win every single swing state? It sounds like a very simple prompt. It sounds like a very simple command. If vote this way, switch the name. I'm just saying, you do what you want with that information. And the thing is Musk all but said it yesterday. He's not going to totally implicate himself. He ain't that high. He ain't that high. But the day that he gets that high is when it's going to all fall out. And she does. She owns the patents on the voting machines. And Elon has the right people in position. He ain't no super tech, but he got the right people. You don't have to know all the things. You just need to know the right people to put in position. And somebody gonna sing. There's a individual who was a part of Doge, computer programmer. They fired him because he shared how much information and how efficient the government really was, and how they couldn't find a bunch of overpay. Pam, did you see that? Listen, it's wild out here in these streets. But what do we do in the interim? First of all, before we talk about the rescission bill or the package, let me stop calling it a bill. I definitely want to go over to Project 2025.observer. If I were you, I would write that down. Project 2025.observer. Project 2025.observer. Remember this package that nobody wants to read, but I actually went live for about 2 weeks late at night, and we would read it out loud. He said that. He said that he was absolutely surprised how efficient the government worked. Thank you for that, Pam, for sharing that. Project 2025.observer. And current executive orders. Yes. All right. So let's see how many days we have. Time until the end of the term, 1,323 days, 23 hours, 7 minutes, and 55, 54, 53 seconds. There are 313 projects in Project 2025. 99 of those have been done. Did y'all know that? And 63 are in progress. I don't want you to get mad. I need you to download the 5 Calls app. 5 calls. And you need to call your senators. You need to call your congresspeople, because remember this, we still the people. We still the people. Do I need to say it again? We're still the people. And I think we've forgotten that. They got us running scared, and this country was supposed to be built for us, not for them. But if we lay still long enough, it will be just that. And we don't have a lot of time while we're sitting up in here fighting amongst each other. They travel in the world on our tax dollars for people that aren't even making a living wage. And you ain't mad. Y'all mad at the wrong people. I did a piece on Substack. Let me share just a little bit of it. It's called The Price of Power. I need y'all to take a look at that. The $400 million bride plane, who paying for that? You. That digital coin that's raising eyebrows that you can't even get in, that's how they're paying for their pardons, folks. And because coins cannot be detected, guess what? They don't know where the money coming from or where it's going. That global real estate pipeline that his sons are going after, it's over $1 billion in investment. They flying on Air Force One. On your dime. On your dime. Do you know how mad you are when you loan somebody $5 and every time they see you, oh, I got you. But they just bought a brand new car. They can't give you your $5 back. Make it make sense. Billionaires with contracts and Elon Musk. But we mad at each other. We mad at the brown people. We mad at the black folks. We mad at the Native American. We mad at all of the people. What are we doing? We need to ban crypto or crypto-based political funding and fundraising without full disclosure. Because that's how they're able to pay into his pockets. They kiss in the ring by purchasing his crypto, folks. You want somebody out of jail? Buy $1 million worth of his crypto. He's a billionaire, y'all. He made $1 billion, $1 billion+ with it. Nobody's talking about it. He should have divested from his companies when he became president. He didn't do it the last time, and he didn't do it this time. Of course, Mark, please feel free to share that with as many people as you can. Did you all know that it's something called the Foreign Gifts Act? I don't care if a country is giving us a scarf. He ain't supposed to take it. And the amount of procurement dollars that Elon Musk has secured, they need to control that. Thank you, Gen X. I appreciate that. I don't even know what that was, but it sure was pretty. Y'all feel me on this? You feel me? Like, what are we doing? We need to stop fighting each other and understand what is happening right up under our eyeballs. They playing us like this violin. And there are people that are saying, oh, I regret my vote. Bottom lip trembling. Hey, Jackie, how are you? Good to see you. Bottom lip trembling. So you all already know what I'm getting ready to do. What we got to do. We got to tell them how much we give a damn. Okay? That's how much we care. Get out your feelings. Get out your feelings. This is business for them. And when you are in business, there are no feelings. Look at your numbers. What do the numbers tell you? Follow the trail. What is his MO? Entertainment. What is he from? He's literally from entertainment. That part. They only care when it affects them directly. Well, honey, it's affecting them directly. And if they're not careful, it's going to be some more people that it's going to affect. If it's not going to affect them, it's going to affect people that they know directly. Let that bill pass. There's going to be so much bureaucracy and so much people are going to have to do to prove that they are working when it comes to Medicaid. It ain't even going to be funny. And here's the thing. Healthcare is a human right. If we want to deregulate some stuff, let's talk about the health insurance industry. It's a hot mess. But we keep looking at the wrong thing. We looking at each other. We looking at the woman down the street who's an absolute racist. I'll keep it 100. Been living in a house that her husband left her that's falling apart, that voted red because she was told she belonged. And her teeth are falling out her mouth. Her children don't come see her anymore. And she has to take a Medicaid-funded bus to her doctor's appointments. And she has a day nurse that comes to drop off her meals. But she voted red. And her insurance that she has through Medicaid and her Social Security, which takes out $185 every time she gets a check for her Medicare, in either Part A or Part B, is paying the rest of it so she can get her meds. And she voted because she's white. And ain't no way a black woman's supposed to be sitting in that seat. So I'm going to vote over here because those are my people. And I belong over there. But what she doesn't know is this bill, if it passes, she will have to prove that she deserves it. She will have to prove that she's looking for work. She will have to fill out the paperwork that will be more cumbersome than it was before. If she's getting food stamps, she's going to have to prove, once again, that she deserves the food stamps. Make it make sense, people. But that's not what she really voted for. Because guess what? She didn't even know what she was voting for because they turned it into a contest. They turned it into the WWE of politics. And we fell for it. They even created an entire forum of an attack. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. For people we've never heard from since. It's all smoke and mirrors. Pay attention. It's cute to talk about the girls are fighting. But don't stop talking about that bill. Don't stop learning about that bill. Get out your feelings because this is business for them. They are building an entire empire off of the backs of hard-working Americans on either side. And they don't want us to come together because, baby, if we come together, we are unstoppable. It would be legions of us. But that's what they don't want. You couldn't see for looking. Mm-hmm. They ain't even looking. Their eyes closed. They taking whole naps. Because they won. Yeah. Insanity. I don't even understand. Like how we have to. That's why they did everything they could to get rid of the Black Panther Party. Because that's what the Black Panther Party was doing. They wanted everybody to open their eyes and see that it was not about race. That's a propaganda tool. It's the rich against the poor. It's the haves against the have-nots. You got billionaires, multi-billionaires who are concerned about you. They want all the contracts. They want all the money. They want all the things. And they create all the propaganda needed so that you can keep talking about the immigrant that's not getting food stamps, the single mother who's getting $150 worth of food stamps and a WIC check to feed her babies for the month because she can't afford daycare because they cut it, or there's no daycare program in her area because she lives in a rural area. So she has to do what she has to do and take a job where she's not away from the kids more than 4 hours. Are you following where I'm going with this? So she don't make enough to even pay her rent. So guess what else she got to do? She has to live in public housing if she can get it. Because there's a waiting list. Because rent is through the damn roof. You literally have to make 3 times your gross salary per month in order to even rent an apartment or a house. On this current salary today, but we fighting against each other and everybody trying to eat. People eating dog food, people not eating. And we're talking about in the US. I haven't even talked about what's happening overseas. The problem is, Dee Dee, the sad part is you and I both know it shouldn't be about that. We know that. Oh, yeah. Carol Sue, I saw that. He was right there. Yeah, the rent is too high. It's ridiculous. It is too high. Now, true story. My mortgage is the same amount, if not less, than some apartments. And if you find an apartment that's a slumlord, they're not taking care of it, right? That's a whole, we could talk about housing, we could talk about all the things. But here's the thing. I want us to all remain informed. Because we talking about the wrong things. Period. We talking about the wrong thing. And it doesn't even make sense to me anymore. It really doesn't. Let's talk about the rescission package just a little bit. I thought I had it up. Hold on just a minute. We're all human. They created the race thing. Yep, they did. We'll talk about the 15 black folks that they just shipped back to Louisiana. Their brains, their whole heads were decapitated. 15 black folks. Decapitated, heads sent over to Germany so they could test them to prove that black folks' brains were smaller than everyone else's, to prove their theory about race. Oh, you didn't hear about that? Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, ma'am. Where are my notes? I have notes on. Huh? You didn't. I'll tell y'all about it. Hang on just a minute. I'm fine. I thought I had it written out. Typed up. Mm-hmm. Sent them folks right on. Yep. Let me go ahead and pull it up so you all will not think I'm crazy. Yep. Actually, it wasn't 15, it was 19. I was wrong. The remains of 19 Black Americans whose skulls were taken to Leipzig, Germany in the 1880s to perform racial pseudoscience experiments were brought to New Orleans to be properly memorialized, a repatriation committee said Thursday. Dillard University, the City of New Orleans, and University of Medical Center will hold a New Orleans-style jazz funeral tomorrow morning for the 13 men, 4 women, and 2 identified African Americans this weekend. Okay, these people had names. They were people with stories and histories. Their heads were removed and they were studied. Yeah. Yep. There you go. The things you learn, right? The things you learn. Sometimes we don't need to be told. They don't need to be told. They do what they want. I know y'all know about the one woman who had, now I forgot her name. She was from Louisiana as well. She was doing experiments on live people. Sewing them together, cutting them up, putting their arms and legs on each other and so forth. And they found them in the attic. All of her slaves. Yeah, it happens. Let's go back to Project 2025 really quick. I think it's important that we're going to talk about the rescission bill. How do we end up talking about that? Yes, Henrietta Lacks. She's another one. Well, that's another one. Woo, my God, today. We have another one here in Atlanta. They're experimenting on. I don't care what nobody say. Let's talk about that. 2 more have been completed. No, since we last talked. The last one we talked about was the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, repeal energy efficiency standards for appliances. They actually completed that on May 9th. Here's another one. Use the Congressional Review Act to undo Biden era final rulemakings. Now, if you want to look at it, it is on page 50 of Project 2025. That was completed on May 12th. The Department of Defense, this was done on May 13th. This is also in Project 2025. Use of public monies for transgender surgeries should be ended. It was done on May 13th. And that is for the Department of Defense. May 21st, clarify that no employer is required to provide accommodations for abortion. Reproductive health and labor. Where did I get that information from? Project 2025.observer. This is actually on page 585 of Project 2025. That was completed on the 21st. June 3rd, Department of Health and Human Services rescind guidance that requires hospitals to perform an abortion to save a woman's life. Y'all didn't know that was a part of Project 2025, did you? Let's look at it. It's on page 473. Rewrite the ACA, or the Americans, let's see, the Affordable Care Act, Abortion Separate Repayment Regulations. Section 1303 of Obamacare requires that insurers collect a separate payment for certain abortion coverage in qualified health plans that are approved to be sold on exchanges, and that they keep these separate payments in separate accounts, that they are used only to pay for elective abortion services. Neither the letter nor the spirit of the law was enforced under President Obama, and a Trump-era regulation sought to correct this problem. The Biden Health and Human Services rescinded this regulation to allow insurance companies, once again, contrary to the law, to collect combined payments for what are clearly required to be separate payments for elective abortion coverage. Separate does not mean together. Health and Human Services should reinstate a Trump administration regulation and enforce what the plain text of Section 1303 requires. That regulation should be further improved by requiring CMS to ensure that consumers pay truly separate abortion or charges for abortion coverage. Yeah, this is the mandate for leadership. Yep. Reverse distorted pro-abortion interpretations added to the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act. This is what they just reversed. If you go into the emergency room and you are miscarrying, if you go into an emergency room and you are clearly having a problem, whether it be ectopic, whether the pregnancy is non-viable, the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act prohibits hospitals that receive Medicare funds from dumping emergency patients who cannot pay by sending them to other hospitals. It also mandates that hospitals stabilize pregnant women and explicitly protects unborn children. Hospitals or physicians found to be in violation of the statute could lose all of their federal funding, Medicare, Medicaid, CHIP, and other fundings, and face civil penalties of up to $120,000. So in other words, we don't care that you're dying. We don't care that you're dying. Save the fetus at all costs, even to the life of the mother. And we're seeing that right now here in Georgia. That poor girl is still on life support. The unborn child has been identified as having water on its brain. Fluid on the brain. She's still here. Yep. And the government is not taking up the charge. They are charging her family. Her family is being billed. That's what she said, Carol Sue. How y'all feel about all this information? It's a lot, isn't it? But you need to know. You absolutely need to know. I said we was going to talk about the rescission bill. Let me tell you something. I'll be back. I gotta go. Let me tell you why. I gotta go. Number one, because the magazine, of course, it's a lot. Listen, y'all. I just want you all to be informed. It's so important. Okay. But I will return. We're going to talk about the rescission bill. I actually told Carol Sue we was going to talk about it. I was working on my piece for it. Hey, Don, how are you? Listen, we'll be back later on this evening for the night shift. That's what we're going to start calling it, okay? And we're going to talk about the rescission package, the $9.4 billion that they're trying to codify, which means they're trying to rescind that so that they don't have to turn it back on. It is so important for you all to understand. I'll probably be here. What is today? Friday? Okay, so I will say between 8:30. I came on at 8:30 last night, so I'll do the same. Okay, we'll do that. I think that would be best because I have a ton of stuff to do. The magazine drops today. And when I say the magazine, I'm talking about the actual link. It's live, right? So all of the paying subscribers to the magazine have already gotten theirs. So it's actually getting ready to go live for everybody else. Okay, what can you do in the meantime? Head over to brownstoneworldwide.com for news and information and to get updates as we get them. And then also check out Cityscape Radio. You can always go over to Brownstone Worldwide to tap right in. The other thing you can do is to check out last month's issue of Brownstone Living Magazine with UGC creator Kevin Hartley on the cover. And then also this month, TJ Mercer of Move-In Day Mafia is on the cover. You've probably already seen it. She is wearing like this amazing green and she's kicking the screen. So that was a lot of fun. And she's going to be talking about her upcoming event here in Atlanta, where she is doing it's called the bingo, the bougie ass bingo experience, I believe is what it's called. But her celebrity host is the one and only Sherry Shepherd. She'll be here, and we're going to raise some money for some needy college students that need it. Okay. All right. Now, what do we always say at the end of every single broadcast? 3 things that I always tell every single neighbor before we leave. Don't forget, you can subscribe to me on Substack. You can do either paid or not. It's completely up to you. But listen, 3 things that I always like to tell every single person before we leave the neighborhood. 1, love your life. It is the only one that you have. 2, live your life to the fullest and embrace everything that is your life because you only get one you might as well enjoy it. And lastly, breathe through every single moment. And remember, folks, we still the people. We'll see you around.
Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Vernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are welcome in the essence. This broadcast, Brownstone, the light is contagious. But you need go on and receive it for yourself. Just open it, exuberant, evolution, excited. We standing on the foundation of expression. You might have seen, you might have been, or you could have gravitated. Our foundation, we want to create a space for all to collaborate and be liberated from eventually all over the globe. And we are extending a hand to those who are an extension from maybe platforms, dig into another stratosphere. Welcome to Brownstone World. Relax and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and breakfast with Berner, here to entertain, and we will help you live well. And that is MSG, the message in the message. I can OD on my execution of excellency, and this as a man right now, and things aren't created, but see true.